Hi everybody and welcome to a Heel Heat Top 10 show. My name is George Coles. This is my tag team partner, the Giant Machine.
Gary Rhodes, thanks Haku.
And this week, this show, our top 10 is the top 10 title runs. Just one single run, not over a prolonged amount. So that's not including Hulk Hogan's 6 runs or whoever else, Ric Flair's 16. It's just one single run with the belt. And to start it off,
we're going to start off with number 10 with an ECW original, Taz. His first run was an epic run. I think it was a precursor to what he could have been.
With the ECW title.
With the ECW title. I think that Vince really missed a boat on Taz, and if he ever watched a tape of Taz's first title run, tapes of Taz's first title run, he'd realize that.
Well, and the thing of it was, he won the title from Shane Douglas, who arguably is one of the greatest champions in ECW history. At the time, ECW was at its absolute hottest that it would ever be, and it led to him getting hired by Vince a short bit later. And then coming off of that, our next one is, our number 9, is a run that elevated both the championship and the guide. Christian Cage's first TNA, which at the time was using the NWA World Title run. It brought TNA some respectability, showing a guy like Christian to be their man, and also brought Christian to be in a main eventer, which he couldn't break the glass ceiling in WWF, or WWE at the time, and went to TNA and broke the glass ceiling, and since then he's a
main eventer.
He's a solid main eventer now. At any time you could stick him in.
And the thing is, like you said, he elevated TNA when he came there, and it really helped affect him because he was one of the first guys that jumped ship and left for the company.
Exactly.
Now I think number 8 is a legend and an icon, but I think
the showstopper,
the main event. Number 8 is HBK on his 4th title run when it was comeback tour. It really showed the man still had it. It was an awesome match. It was in the Elimination Chamber, the very first, and he was in there with some great competitors and really helped. I mean, it was just an awesome match.
We watched that or that pay-per-view at your dad's place, didn't we?
Yes.
And that was the night I went to spear you, but you threw your girlfriend at the time anyway, and she took the gore.
Isn't it funny how Shawn Michaels is this one, and he did that to Sherry with the mirror?
Yeah.
Awesome.
That was one hysterical night. I don't think you got laid for about 2 weeks after that one, did you?
No, it was that night.
But it was a good run. It was more of a respect to Shawn Michaels' career than anything else. And then the next one is pretty historical, I think, personally. Number 7, Ron Simmons winning the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. The first African-American to win a major World Heavyweight title in wrestling.
If it wasn't for that title run, you wouldn't have had The Rock, Booker T. He was the first, and he handled himself.
Mark Henry, yeah. All these guys owe it back to him, who he owes, and he said it even in his Hall of Fame, to guys like Ernie Ladd,
Bobo Brazil,
Tony Atlas, that laid the groundwork for him to get to where he was. The sad thing is that Ron only got one title run. He really should have had more.
Yeah, he was an awesome main eventer there, and
even when he came to the WWF and the Nation of Domination, he should have.
That should have been a title run right there.
He should have had one there as well. But being what it is, it's what it is.
Well, next is number 6. We have a guy a lot of you younger guys might not have heard of, but I tell you what, you need to catch up on your internet and watch some of this guy's matches. Nick Bockwinkel. His first AWA title run was from 1975 to 1980, and he beat the Who's Who. That was the hottest AWA ever was.
Yeah, at the time, AWA, it was still territorial wrestling, and AWA arguably was the hottest territory in the country, with a lot of the biggest stars in the country. I mean, they had guys like Hulk Hogan was wrestling there. Vern Gagne was there when Vern was at his peak. Baron von Raschke. I mean, the Vachons, Mad Dog Vachon, Butcher Vachon.
You said Hogan?
Hogan there.
Andre,
Jumpin' Jim Brunzil. I mean, the guys, it reads as a who's who list of who would eventually be the superstars of the next decade. Even guys like Guys like Ventura and Adrian Adonis were there as well. I mean, it was a great run. It was something, he took the belt from Vern Gagne and gave the belt back to Vern Gagne.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, Nick Bockwinkel, along with Harley Race, laid the groundwork for heels in wrestling leading up till now.
Well, any guy that's a heel in wrestling is pretty much, in some aspect, ripping off Harley Race or Nick Bockwinkel.
Or both. Triple H ripped off both.
Mm-hmm.
And then coming off of that, our number 5 guy is the current WWE champion, CM Punk, in the run he's going with now. It's the 6th longest run in the history of the WWF title at this point. If the rumors are true and he holds it till WrestleMania, it's going to move all the way up to number 4, which at that point, he's not going to get any further, because after that it's 4, 5 year, 6 year runs. So he won't get higher than 4. But even if he makes it there, it's saying something about the trust that the company has in CM Punk.
Well, the thing is, the company right now, like I said, before Punk was champion, the whole Cena runs and stuff like that, adults are getting sick of it. I know they're trying to gear it more towards kids, but the thing is, kids are even getting tired of the guy.
Yeah. And another thing, they talk about the disrespect, and it's part of the angle now. It turned him face to heel. But really, in this time, he's faced guys like Del Rio,
Chris Jericho
at WrestleMania, a tremendous match, one of the best matches of WrestleMania this year. Beat Cena a few different times. Daniel Bryan and him had a great match at Over the Limit. Had great matches with Kane. I mean, the guy is consistently one of the better guys on the show. I would say him and Daniel Bryan are the 2 best guys in WWE right now. I keep saying WWF because we're mentioning that belt so much.
Yes.
But he's the guy, and he's had one of the most epically long runs that they've had.
Number 4 is the polar opposite, character-wise, of CM Punk. He's not straight edge. He's Stone Cold Steve Austin, the Rattlesnake. And on his first title run was an epic run. You know, his title run turned the current around for WWF at the time to beat WCW.
And it also helped, it was another pivotal turning point in the Attitude Era. Also, if you listen to WrestleMania 14 where he wins it, Jim Ross says it perfectly. This is the beginning of the Stone Cold Era.
The Austin era has begun.
Yeah, and from there it led to his Hall of Fame career. The guy, I mean, for 10 years everybody knew he was going to be a future star, and then this was just finally the time that he made it to that level. Now, coming off of that, another guy that's a polar opposite of him is our number 3 guy, Bruno Sammartino, who is actually turned off by the antics of the Attitude Era and is one of the reasons why he doesn't associate with the WWE anymore. His WWF run, his first run from, I think it was 63 to 70, a 7-year-long run. The guy held the title, and he was the biggest draw in the Northeast, arguably the biggest wrestler in the whole country at the time.
Now, I'm not a giant fan of Bruno's work. I mean, I've seen some of his matches here and there. He has to be on the list because of the length of time and the guys he's faced. But I honestly don't think if you put Bruno Sammartino in a time machine and brought him to present day, I don't think he could hang with the new class.
Well, the thing of it is that brings him up here is the number of times he sold out the Madison Square Garden as well, which is no small feat at that time. The Madison Square Garden was the biggest place you could wrestle, and a lot of guys that wrestled at that time will tell you they wanted to get there whether it was one show or not, and he consistently sold it out.
Well, you can't fight the numbers, though. That's the thing. The guy sold out that place so many times. I think Hogan beat him out, and then Austin finally beat Hogan out.
Exactly. But coming off of that one,
speaking of the guy that beat him out, Hulk Hogan. His first WWF title run was an epic run. It really turned it to a national stage. You know, it was like the second coming of wrestling.
Well, Hulk Hogan was the first guy that Vince McMahon Jr., when he took over, he was the guy that was going to be the flagship of his show, and he ushered in the rock and wrestling era, beating Iron Sheik a month after Iron Sheik beat Backlund for the title. And he came and, you know, say what you will about Hogan, and we trash him as much as possible, just watch our TNA shows. The guy is what brought 75% of the people watching this video right now to watch this video. He's a guy that put eyes on wrestling.
He is.
And he was a guy that you grew up idolizing.
Yeah, I mean, I admit I was a little Hulkster when I was a kid, and then like I said, a lot of his antics nowadays have really turned me against him. But
wow, you Jericho'd that against.
I did against. But I just not a big fan of his attitude now.
Or the politics that he has.
And that's the thing. He's buried so many good guys. But anyway, we're not talking about the bad about him. We're talking about the good he did.
Yeah.
And he did great on his first title run. I mean, it was over 3 years?
Yeah, it was. I think it was a little over 3 years because he held it from that point in '84 till after WrestleMania 7. I think, or WrestleMania 3, and which is '87. That's why I was thinking of 7. But he held it till I think just about WrestleMania 4, about 2 months earlier when he lost it to Andre the Giant, and then the belt got held up because Andre the Giant tried to sell the belt to the $2 Million Man Ted DiBiase, which led to the tournament at WrestleMania 4. And then before we get to our number 1 guy, we want to talk about some guys that just barely miss this list. We're going to call it the best of the rest. I'll let you take the first guy. He's one of your favorites.
Well, I got one we just actually mentioned, and Chris Jericho, his first WWF title run. That was an awesome run.
Yeah. The undisputed champion.
Exactly. I mean, he
the first ever.
Well, first ever, and he beat Stone Cold and The Rock
in the same night. Only person that's ever done that. Now the second guy is Yokozuna in his second WWF title run. Not the first one because he lost that to Hogan 5 minutes after he won it, but the second one when he beat Hogan and kept the belt for almost a year. Great run there.
Terry Funk with his ECW title run. You know, he really helped that company out, and that was more of a respect issue that they gave him by giving him that belt. But if it wasn't for Terry Funk, ECW wouldn't have gotten as big as it did, I don't think.
Now the next guy is JBL in his almost 1 year run as the World Heavyweight Champion on SmackDown, and the only reason he kept the belt for so long is because Triple H doesn't work Tuesdays. But
I disagree.
It was still a solid run. He worked with guys. He helped bring up Cena's career at the point. You know, worked well with Guerrero at the time.
Well, you look at his title run. He'd beaten Guerrero, Booker T, Big Show, Kurt Angle. You know, the list goes on with the guys that he has put down. But awesome guy. Next, Sting's first NWA title run. I think that was a historic night. I mean, Flair really built him up.
And kind of passed the torch.
Exactly. But I don't think he was capable of holding it.
Now, speaking of Flair, his first WWF run, the title he won at the Royal Rumble, was a tremendous thing. He was the first guy that Vince didn't really make a superstar out of that he let become the World Heavyweight Champion.
And then the next guy was Shane Douglas on his first ECW title run, or NWA title run if you want to, with a giant promo he cut that night. You know, making him
the franchise.
Exactly, he was the franchise. We already mentioned Sting, yeah, but he was that made him the franchise. That promo was just so epic. It's hard to put in words.
And if you guys don't know what we're talking about, is he wins the NWA title in a tournament because the title's vacated, and he takes the title, talks about all the guys that held it before him, throws it down, says, "I'm not going to accept this title of a dying company.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. I'm going to be ignite the sport of professional wrestling," and proclaims himself the ECW World Heavyweight Champion, which really started ECW's ball rolling and made them eventually what they would be.
All right, that brings us to number 1, George.
Why don't you go ahead and give it to him?
All right, number 1 is Ric Flair's second title run with the NWA. He beat Harley Race, first Starrcade, hometown crowd, one of the biggest events ever for NWA before it returned to WCW.
Well, it was also one of the first pay-per-views, or actually closed circuit television events. It was the first of the big supercards. Starrcade actually predates WrestleMania.
About a year or so?
I think about a year and a half.
Yeah.
And it was the first time that a wrestling show was a national event, other than being on a wrestling spectacular.
And that match there just speaks volumes of the amount of respect that they finally had for Flair. They let him get over on Harley Race, arguably one of the best NWA champions of all time. That's a guy we can't talk enough about. He is just that damn good.
Along with him and Bockwinkel are two of the guys we're really huge fans of, and that we think helped to build the business to what it is now, that don't get the respect that they properly deserve.
And we were talking about Bockwinkel earlier. I mean, another guy we the head off the list we already mentioned was Chris Jericho, and he admitted he ripped off Chris Bachman, or Nick Bachman.
But anyway, and before we let go, we close off the show, I want to mention that this whole top 10 was an idea of a good friend of ours and a great supporter of the show, Paul Panda Bear Pickett.
Panda Bear.
He let us know on the last top 10 that we did, gave us some ideas, and we decided, one of his ideas was a great idea. We're going to probably shoot the other one of his ideas soon. So, Paul, thanks for the suggestion. I hope this lives up to what you thought it would be. If you have any arguments with what we put on here, let us know down where?
Down there in the comments. There.
Another strikeout. But anyway, let us know down there. Let us know on our Twitter page, on Facebook, if you have anybody you think we left off, or if you think the order we put it in is wrong. If you think some person's run should be higher than it is.
And also, before we close, I want to mention that we're going to have a roundtable event here pretty soon. We might have a special guest with us yet. We haven't got it confirmed yet from this guy. But we want some of your ideas for our roundtable.
Yeah, some questions you want to hear. Here are our opinions about them, whether it be wrestling related or not. We'll let you know. We don't think any question's a dumb question. We'll address it on our show.
Exactly. If anything's stupid, I've already done it. So
twice.
2 times. Sucker.
And basically, that's all we have for this top 10. The top 10 title runs. My name's George Coles.
Gary Rhodes.
And this has been a Heel Heat Top 10.